edge. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged, USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you try and taste. Nonetheless, it's live, folks. Anything can happen. Wait till you taste their New York steaks, the Prime and Angus New York steaks, the filet mignons, the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Hell, even those Prime Angus and Wagyu burgers. Most likely the best you ever had, certainly the best that I've ever had as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com on your mobile device or on your regular computer. Maybe you want to give them a call and find out what's for dinner. 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, all of our independents as well. Everybody streaming on Instagram, Facebook, and AmpTV, AAMP.TV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Also, welcome into everybody that's watching on hotel television in, well, hell, over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast in every Nielsen-rated market. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, how about this one? You know, we've been hearing a lot about this whole Tom Brady thing, right? You know, Tom's not playing well, Tom's not doing this, Tom's not doing that. And if you're wondering about Tom's personal chaos and questionable performance on the field, you're not alone. What makes this happen? What makes people get distracted, right? Maybe this will help cure your curiosity. And now, of course, remember, this is a circus and we prove it every day. And this little tidbit is brought to you by, you ready for this? Glamour Magazine. Yeah. So the Sports Circus will go to all lengths just to bring you different perspectives. So now Glamour had stepped in and said, Gisele Bündchen is reportedly dating a new athlete. At the end of the day, nobody really cares. However, there may be some answers in this thing with your curiosity for Tom Brady and his performance. How about this? All right, this is according to Glamour. They say Gisele Bündchen just stepped out with a new man following her divorce from Tom Brady. Well, good for her. And in fact, as recent as just a few days ago, she was spotted having dinner with jiu-jitsu instructor Joaquim Valente and her two children, Benjamin and Vivian, in Costa Rica. Well, good for them. Now, Gisele and Valente have known each other for almost a year, at least. In February, Gisele shared that she was taking self-defense classes with Valente and his brother, Pedro and Jui. In fact, on Instagram, she wrote glowing reviews of their training. Quote, I believe the more tools we have in our toolbox, the better. I feel stronger, more confidence, and empowered since I started practicing self-defense. And it feels important for skills for all, but especially for us women. Thank you, Valente brothers, for being awesome teachers and making training so much fun. Close quote. Now, on Twitter, Tom Brady responded to the clip with a joke, saying, quote, my days of leaving dishes in the sink are numbered. Close quote. Of course, this is all according to Glamour. Now, recently, Gisele started a photo shoot with the Valente brothers for Dust Magazine. How do you like them apples? Right? A little tidbit maybe you might not have known. And of course, in September, rumors of Gisele and Brady's impending divorce began to swirl after a source told Page Six about an epic fight between the two over Brady's decision to come out of retirement and play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And those two reportedly had been living apart for months. And 2 years ago, they saw couples counseling for their ongoing quarrels. And Brady told Howard Stern back in April of 2020, quote, she felt like I would play football all season and she would take care of the house. And then all of a sudden, when the season ended, I'd be like, great, Let me get into all my other business activities. Let me get into my football training. And she's sitting there going, well, are you going to do things for the house? What are you going to do? Are you going to take the kids to school and do that? She was like, I have goals and dreams too, close quote, 100%. Now, of course, she's a big businesswoman too. Last month, Giselle hired a divorce lawyer and left a telling comment under an Instagram post about inconsistent partners. By the end of the month, she was formally announced the proceedings on Instagram by writing, quote, with much gratitude for our time together, Tom and I amicably finalized our divorce. My priority has always been and will be to continue to be our children, who I love with all my heart. The decision to end a marriage is never easy, but we have grown apart, and while it is, of course, difficult to go through something like this, I feel blessed for the time that we had together and only wish the best for Tom always, close quote. Now, days later, Tom released a slightly different statement. And we're going through this, folks, because I'm going to bring some method to the madness here, I promise. So this is the article by Glamour magazine, yes. And Tom says, quote, in recent days, my wife and I finalized our divorce from one another after 13 years of marriage. We arrived at the decision amicably and with gratitude for the time we spent together. We are blessed with beautiful and wonderful children who will continue to be the center of our world in every way. We continue to work together as parents to ensure they receive the love and attention they deserve, close quote. So Tom has since spoken publicly about his post-divorce plans, and on his Sirius XM show, Let's Go, he discussed the challenges of balancing his personal and professional life. And at a press conference, he insisted there is no retirement in his future. I think a lot of people like that one. But then again, there are also the haters out there. But this whole situation is one that many people around the world deal with. However, there's big business involved here. Okay, so now we can focus on football. And that's probably good for him psychologically, but it could be a curse due to the living arrangements. Now, obviously, Tom will finish the season out with still a chance to get to the postseason. I believe he's going to play at least one more year, though. This would give, actually, in my opinion, this is what actually gives him and his team a chance to have a full season without any distractions. Well, minimal distractions nonetheless. And he'll be able to focus on football from the start of camp all the way to the Super Bowl. And that makes the most sense to me. Plus, he's got a $350 million 10-year TV contract waiting for him after he retires. Doesn't seem like he's ready to retire. Seems like he's got some unfinished business here. And of course, it seems like he'll lose half of that in his divorce on top of it, along, well, with his, according to Forbes, $250 million allegedly that he's worth. Oops, that was probably just cut in half or worse. Yes. Honestly, he's going to lose a lot of personal life all the way around. I mean, this guy's going to lose a lot around him, but he's going to have to manage that, right? Damage control. So it seems that, well, he was working on the NFL while she was playing, and it seems that he is choosing to be responsible and work, but yet it's going to cost him millions to do that, to be a responsible man in a relationship. It's like men and women both work, right? So he's trying to do his job. Well, guess what? He's got a job to do. He's not retired. Doesn't matter. But it's costing him millions to do his job. While it appears that she was actually playing while he was working. Oh, boy. And what world is that for? What the hell's going on here? What about the big picture in general for men? I mean, what's the upside of this whole marriage thing in the first place, right? And I know this is a very unpopular topic amongst women and amongst certain men. The average marriage lasts from 7 to 8 years. Back in the day, we'll say the day was maybe 20 years ago, it was all the way down to about 3.5 years, unconfirmed. Nonetheless, what's the value of that time? What's the value of the dollars earned, the time together, when you know it's going to come to a screeching halt at some point? Since the average man loses half of his income, half of his assets, half of his retirement on top of it. Oh, yeah, because why?
Show me the money!
That always seems to be a part of it. How do they participate in a legal contract that dooms them essentially from the start? And this goes for you ladies out there too. What happens when you enter a contract and that happens to be an official marriage license? with the county of your choice, wherever the heck you're at in these United States of America. Let's just focus here. Now you've entered into a contract where the government decides about the division of assets and all this other crap, if you have to go that lengths. The problem is this. When you enter into this contract, folks, what you're doing is saying, oh, never mind the whole prenuptial agreement crap. Never mind all that for all you people thinking about that. The city or the county is going to decide, the court system is going to decide about your estate anyway, unless you have some ironclad document. And good luck with those these days. You have to be an expert at asset protection. Another conversation for another time. I mean, someone please chime in with this, because none of this seems fair whatsoever. None of it seems fair. And whether you're a woman that has a bunch of money, whether you're a man that has a bunch of money, whether neither of you have a bunch of money, but you made a bunch of money when you were together. The fact is, someone's going to get, well, their pocket picked in this one. And let's face it, women wonder why men don't want to marry. Well, think about that one. And sometimes it's the woman that asks for the prenup. Either way, someone's getting bent out of shape, getting screwed out of something, and at the end of the day, nobody ends up winning in this. Well, I can't say nobody, because usually, well, the courts side with females. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere, lots more to come.
Zwoele zomerhits,
Klopvaste actua.
de leukste cadeaus. Donna.
The sound of summer.
Radio Donna.
Today's best music, C100.
XW Trenton Kicks 101 and a half. The music you love to hear.
WRFM, Stereo 105.
You're listening to 97 WYNY. WYNY.
C100. WAYB FM 95 Atlantic City.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
My, isn't this an awkward moment? Stop it!
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning. Maybe someone socked you in the mouth, you got knocked out, and you need legal help. Contact Legal Shield. Maybe they can help. 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Again, 213-245-1305. Or check them out online for more information at nocourt.us. That's www.nocourt.us. Also, you can email them for more information at info@nocourt.us. Yes! All right, big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS NBC Fox Sports affiliate, plus independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the San Francisco 49ers, New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome into everybody that may be listening in Southern California on NBC News and CNBC Financial with our friends over there, as well as right here in Las Vegas, KQQY, Las Vegas Public Radio. Also welcome into everybody that's listening in, picking up our content over in Lubbock, Texas. Yes, KTXT, that's Raider Radio from Texas Tech University, 88.1 FM. Thanks for picking our content up over there, as well as in Auburn, Alabama. WAUD, that's home of the 2021 World Champion Atlanta Braves, right? We've got to say it that way. Also, over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM. Thanks for waking up with us. And everybody else, all of our affiliates from coast to coast that we just don't have time to mention. Also, welcome into everybody on Hotel Television that's watching in over 500,000 rooms in all 210 Nielsen-rated markets. And, of course, everybody on Instagram, Facebook, and AMP.TV, AAMP.TV. All right. College football. You know, this is rivalry time, right? This is the kind of time when this school goes against that, A against B kind of thing. Well, how about this one? How about UCLA? Talk about sour grapes. Boy, these clowns. UCLA is a little bit bent out of shape after getting ambushed by the University of Arizona. That's what happens when you look past a team to get to the next game. And UCLA, of course, they're going to be squaring off against USC. Yes, sir. They're going to be squaring off against USC. And I got bad news for UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He makes no secret, and he wants to crush USC. Seriously, dude, just shut up. Now, this is according to Trojans Wire Rivalry Week. Say that again. Rivalry Week is off to a very spicy start in Los Angeles. Of course, this stuff is so rich with flavor and zest that it could be served by a Los Angeles taco truck. This is according to Trojans Wire. I didn't say that. They said that. I only repeated it. I had to cite them because I don't want anybody to get upset. Oh, you said something wrong. Shut up. Really, just shut up. Anyway, so USC-UCLA week is taking off, and it's the Bruins who are stirring the pot with big talk. And the Bruins, who just got ambushed, as I said, by Arizona this past week. At home, mind you, at the Rose Bowl. Yes, that's 4-6 Arizona. Yes, are you ready? 4 wins against 6 losses. Which USC was able to defeat, of course, on the road at Tucson. Oh, yeah. UCLA could not beat them at home, mind you. So they're going to be very fired up against USC, needless to say, because they're talking a very big game and they're making absolute no secret of their belief that they can embarrass the USC defense as they unfortunately did last year. And, of course, USC, well, they're not running their mouths. UCLA is actually running their mouths. And I got to tell you, it's really ridiculous.
Stop it!
Seriously.
Shut up! 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 Shut up!
Yes, that's UCLA. Shut up and just get ready to play the damn game. And, of course, their quarterback, Mr. Thompson, what's his name again? What's his name? Oh, yeah, that's right. Thompson-Robinson. I know his name. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is not the only Bruin to talk smack. And, of course, they're trying to challenge USC, trying to get them into some kind of a stupid war of words, which USC is not that stupid. They're not going to play their stupid games that are taught seemingly over in Westwood. And of course, another Bruin did the same thing right after the loss to Arizona. Then they start running their mouths, and seriously, they just can't shut the hell up. So UCLA safety Mo Osling opened his mouth just as well. You know, we don't like those guys. UCLA safety Mo Osling III, asked late last night about replicating last season's win over USC at the Rose Bowl. Quote, "We know we're going to replicate it next week, so we're going to have to play a little bit with a fire underneath our butts. Go out there and just put it on display." Close quote. Really. And again.
Stop it!
Just stop it already. And Mo said, "We know we're going to replicate that 29-point beatdown from USC last year." Really.
Shut up!
Anyway, USC is in the Pac-12 championship game with a win here. So you think they're going to get sucked into this? I don't think so. And the Trojans could stay alive in the CFP race. That's the college football playoff, in case you're keeping score. And they would take a huge step forward towards, of course, a New Year's Six game. Right? Those New Year's Six bowl games are a big deal. Caleb Williams is trying to make his Heisman Trophy closing argument. Everything is on the table for USC. And, of course, UCLA can't make the playoff now. Of course, they're trying to get in the Rose Bowl. Good luck with that. It's Dorian Thompson-Robinson's last game against USC. Really? That clown? Seriously? Oh, this is huge. Whatever, that's what they say. So this week is already off to a flying start with the remarks made by UCLA safety Mo Osling. Osling's comments forced us, being Trojan Wire, to bring up last year's USC-UCLA game, which should motivate every Trojan on last year's roster to bounce back this week against the Bruins. And of course, Dorian Thompson-Robinson says, quote, "Obviously, we hate those guys across town." Close quotes. Is that all you got? Is that what they teach you over there in Westwood? Haven't you learned anything, Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Have you learned anything about bulletin board material? Apparently not. Oh, that's right. He must have been absent on that day. That's right. Yeah, that's the difference between a public university and a private school, folks. The private kids, they have to be there. They want to be there. Guess what? The tuition's expensive, but the teaching environment is better. Instead of hundreds of people in a class, they have a handful of people in a class and they actually learn something. And that's why the USC alums do so much better, as I've seen it, than the UCLA alums. Folks, this is just a war between football teams? Think not. This is a war between tuition at one school and teaching method versus tuition and teaching method elsewhere. Oh, and by the way, hanging in the balance is alumni support. All of my friends, or not all of them, strike that. The large majority of my friends that went to UCLA are now doing nearly as well as my friends that went to USC. Guess what, folks? It's the old you get what you pay for. All right. Speaking of which, let's jump into the NFL real quick. Now, I poke fun at the Raiders every now and then just because I can. I'm not really a big Raiders fan. Sorry, it is what it is. I live in a town that is anti-Raiders, generally speaking, for decades. This is a Denver Broncos town right here in Las Vegas. But people don't really know that outside of that rivalry. Well, guess what? Something came out recently from Yahoo Sports, and they said, how broken are the Raiders? Josh McDaniels may be the only one safe right now. That's how broken they are. And of course, Yahoo Sports says Josh McDaniels was outlining his path forward with the Las Vegas Raiders. His conversation with a camp visitor kept circling back to a word. The 12-year span since his collapse with the Denver Broncos? Humbling. Realizing all the things that he had mishandled during his first shot at head coach, maybe? Humbling. Recognizing that he didn't give a try. He didn't have to try so much to replicate the Bill Belichick experience. Maybe not. Having Mark Davis put the future of the Raiders completely in his hands? Humbling on all counts. Yes. 4 months later, humbling has morphed into humiliating, which I find hilarious. And the Raiders are now 2-7, and McDaniels just scuffed what is likely the worst. Yeah, scuffed is the right word. You could say suffered, but I think he scuffed his own reputation. What's likely the worst loss of his 24 that he's actually been the head coach on his resume. And in fact, this particular loss coming at the hands of the death spiraling Indianapolis Colts, who rolled out Jeff Saturday as their leading man, despite having, yes, no coaching experience at the highest level, and still managed to knock off the highly overrated Raiders. What a joke. And of course, but Sal the bookmaker gave the pick away to followers of PlaceYourBet.Vegas. That's right, PlaceYourBet.Vegas for good sports information. Yes, I gave it away, and it was an obvious Vegas fix to me, in my opinion. I called it so much that I tried to talk other people into it just because, but they weren't buying it. They couldn't see how the Colts could actually win this game. I gave it away for free. Yeah, so much that I even personally bet the game on top of it. I have a ticket to prove it for all you people that didn't think that they would not only cover but win the game. Oh yeah, by the way, I also paired up Ohio State minus 40.5 at the Pitchforks. That would be the University of Indiana, or Indiana University, down in Bloomington. Nice parlay, folks. Anyway, we're going to get back to that in just a minute with this whole Raiders thing. What a joke. Back here in a few. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935, or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
A two-out rally is predicated on what those hitters are doing at the plate. When you look at what the hitters were doing, they were shortening up the stroke, they were getting up on the bat, they were rotating the knuckles, they were doing all the right things to get around on everything and protect the plate. How far could you throw a flag? What's your record for throwing a flag? I know there's beanbags or something.
There's beanbags, marks the spots. Flag, you've got a little sand in it, and you roll it up to a little ball to try to get to the spot. People think that you're throwing it a huge distance. You don't have to throw it a huge distance. You just got to get it on the right line.
But do they have like a punt, pass, and kick for flags?
No, you can throw it 50. So I had this weight in my flag, and it was in the back, and I was on the wing, and I went to throw it, and it got caught in the back of my pants, and I swung it like this, and it went across, it hit the kid in the helmet. The kid looked at me and said, "Now don't go offsides again."
Goofiest thing that we ever did was they filled a swimming pool full of Jell-O. And people could pay to watch Gary and I dive into this pool of Jell-O. And he and I raised $100,000 doing that.
Okay. That's hilarious. And, at least when you go underwater, you can actually eat Jell-O.
That's right.
That's funny stuff. That is really good stuff. All right, we're going to be back in a second here.
Hey everybody, this is Barry Katz from the Industry Standard Podcast, and you're listening to the Sports Circus with Sal Tuzzolino.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow AMP TV. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Cali Vegas can help with everything they need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job, and host their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. Better yet, email them for more information at info@calivegas.com. That's info@CALIvegas.com. Also, check them out online at, of course, www.calivegas.com. Yes! Don't go copying my yes unless you give me credit for it, because that's my signature. Yes! Nobody else does that on air. Nobody does it on TV. Nobody does it on radio. That yes is mine. So don't go copying it, if you know what I mean. That's for all you copycats out there. All right. In the last segment, it was the Raiders and their debacle, their disaster, which I got to tell you, it has a nice, warm place in my heart, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so of course, the Raiders' loss to the Colts was, in most people's eyes, inconceivable. And it was something that it was basically almost a lock if you were in the betting world. However, Sal the bookmaker gave the Colts plus 4.5. Didn't really matter, but I think I got it at 4.5, if I'm not mistaken, at the local sports book here. In fact, it was at the Superbook over at the Westgate. We'll go ahead and plug them because we can. The biggest sports book in the world that I know, nonetheless. So we got our bet in. Yes, we had the winning ticket for it. For all you people that don't believe it, we take a picture, send it to you, minus the barcode, so you can't go catch our ticket, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so I gave that one away for free. I saw that one as being remarkably obvious. But let's get back to the story here on the disaster and debacle of what? Of the Raiders. All right. And this one's for all of our Raider fans out there and our anti-Raider fans too. So back to the story. Of course, this moment is something lower and different than anything before, and it's a variation. Believe me, this point's worse than the 3-9 record McDaniels had in 2010, which ultimately got him fired during the season with the Broncos. And at least in that failure, the head coaches he faced on the other side of the field had legitimate resumes that are pro coaches for months or years of experience and whatnot. The best part about this is Jeff Saturday. He was hired 6 days before taking his first game as the head coach. That's hilarious. 6 days before the game against the Raiders. And of course, just days before the game, he didn't even know who his offensive play caller or starting quarterback would be. Yet he took a wrecked offense and outgained McDaniels 415 to 309 while looking remarkably competent with an offensive line that couldn't protect a fading quarterback in Matt Ryan, who had been benched weeks ago. Oh, yeah. So, of course, the loss was so devastating and frustrating that the starting quarterback, Derek Carr, a Raider to his core, mustered up a post-game media conference essentially through tears, all while teetering back and forth on his feet and seemingly indicating that not everyone in the organization seemed to care about how a playoff roster 1 season ago had fallen into disrepair, collapse, and possibly the depths of hell. And Carr had said, quote, "I'm sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off. Some of the things yes, stutters, that a lot of us try to do just practice. We try to do it just to practice. But we put our bodies through just to sleep at night what we put our bodies through. And for that to be the result of that effort, it pisses me off. It pisses off a lot of guys here. It's hard working what some guys are doing, like I said, just to practice. What they're putting into their body just to sleep at night. So, just so we can be there for each other. And I wish everyone in that room felt the same way about this place. And as a leader, that pisses me off if I'm being honest. Close quotes. So good for him for speaking up. Now, who knows what the hell's going to happen? I think he's going to get shipped out of town for speaking up. And, of course, Carr should be pissed off because when it comes to the four cornerstones of a football team, the owner, the GM, the head coach, and, of course, starting quarterback, he's unquestionably the most vulnerable. And, of course, if all goes well, I wouldn't say if all goes well, he'll have a ticket out of there. But believe me, when the wheels come off, it's usually the quarterback that gets shipped out of town and maybe the head coach, general manager, nah, not so much. In fact, you need an example of that? Take a look at what they're doing in Chicago. Anyway, team owner Mark Davis can't be fired, of course, we know. General manager Dave Ziegler shouldn't be fired, according to Yahoo Sports. Not really sure about that one. And McDaniels, because of the money still owed on his contract and the cash-poor ownership, is almost certainly not getting the X after only one season. So you see, there's no winner in this awful Raiders situation. Certainly not the fans. Yet the locals really don't seem to care much either. And there's a little bit of irony. If the Raiders don't care, why should anyone else? Remember, for the decades before the Raiders showed up here in Vegas, this was and always has been a Denver Broncos city. Yeah, that's who they played on TV here. Yeah, that's right. In case you didn't know that, look it up. So, you think the Raiders are going to get any sympathy from the locals? I don't think so. Many here applaud their losses and root for more, just like me. In fact, my concern meter, yes, is on zero. But hundreds of millions in our tax dollars went to build that stadium. Looks like a giant Roomba, those big floor vacuums. Yeah, that giant stadium where substandard teams play. And of course, that's how Las Vegans and Nevadans lose. That sucks. We have a bad pro football team. We have, in my opinion, a horrific university with highly questionable academics. Yes, they play football, and they get, I think they got $200 million for the deal. How ridiculous. And what have they done for their academics? Got to tell you, folks, in my opinion, they smell. The best university in the state of Nevada happens to be in Reno, and that's the University of Nevada, Reno. That's the real one. Anyway, better than high school with ashtrays, in my opinion. That would be right down here in Las Vegas. So when all the blame comes down to this, it's going in a predictable direction, whether it's deserved or not. Defensive coordinator Patrick Graham and Carr, who's horribly done 3-year extension from last season, left the Raiders with the ability to get out of the deal after 1 year and a dead cap hit of only $5.6 million. Only $5.6
Show me the money!
million. And of course, that number makes Carr likely for an offseason trade in the market, needless to say, and that should be probably one of the biggest priorities for him to get the hell out of town. Now, because he's not the primary problem here, what is? Part of what's happening now is injuries. We'll give it that. Part of the roster, it should have been far more productive from the core talent. It's not in place so far. Many distractions, many disastrous draft picks, past few seasons, whatever. But look, an undeniable part of this is also McDaniels having sold himself, not to mention the franchise owner and the fan base on the season being a pivot rather than a moderate rebuild. And of course, think the Raiders miss John Gruden at this point, huh? You bet your ass they probably do. And I hope he sues them for $1 billion. I think he's going to win, and I think Gruden is going to win big. Absolutely. And I believe that to death. And the NFL and the Raiders railroaded him. Yet, the Raiders sunk their own battleship. And of course, the offensive line, going to be an issue all seasons long. That was understood, and they accepted it once reality sank in during the training camp. But so many other parts of the team should have been better, especially after trading for Devontae Adams and signing Chandler Jones. Yet the offense was too fragile to overcome wide receiver Hunter Renfrow and tight end Darren Waller's never being right in the first place. The defense seems to lack chemistry. Big surprise. Raiders, chemistry? What a joke. And the coaching and leadership has never been able to get over the hump in close games, losing by 6. Yes, 6 games, better yet, losing 6 by a touchdown or less. They stink. Sorry, folks. Now, if this has been sold as something that was going to be a retooling kit, that might have been acceptable, but it wasn't. And in the end, it looks like McDaniels hasn't been able to win games by replicating the razor-thin percentage points of advantage that he kept New England ahead of the opponents as well. And of course, it's a problem because while it makes sense to enhance the Patriots' design, in some ways, in his second shot at being a head coach, the wheels haven't gone his way. And so what does all this mean now? Look, Carr is 31. At this point, this dude's gone. Got 2 remaining years on his contract. At 2-7, maybe 4-13 for the season, this dude's gone. What's going to happen? Is it fair to Carr or Adams? Absolutely not. But it's reality. The Raiders are broken. The record of the wavering disappointment of quarterbacks just says as much. And of course, his firing after the firing of the head coach in one season is entirely unlikely no matter what. McDaniels is humbled and humiliated and here for the longer haul than 9 games. The sooner the Raiders come to grips with that, the easier it will be to resolve this truckload of problems that remain with him moving forward. What a mess. Well, Vegas, you got what you wanted, and that's a pro football team. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal here with Bill Clement. We have special guests
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
billionaire Jeff Hoffman, Mike Golick, Tom Flores,
John Stockton,
David Meltzer, Jim Tunney, Roger Craig,
Andre Reed,
Mario Andretti,
Herschel Walker,
Roy Firestone, Mike Haynes,
Kevin Green,
Jim Jeffcoat,
Rod Jaworski,
Al Bubba Baker,
Brett Saberhagen,
Rich Cho,
Markey,
Charles Smith, Danny McClain, Yank Berry, Grant Fuhrer,
Paul Dvorsky,
President of the Vegas Golden Knights, George McPhee,
Len Komoroski, CEO of Cavaliers, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse,
Blake Brady, Mickey Studa,
Art Steele,
Don Beebe,
Ken Solomon,
Tom Dreesen,
Pat O'Connor, Alan Glist, 43 Tony Awards,
Walt Harris, Mike Crawford, President and CEO of the Hall of Fame,
Louis Viola, President, Paramount Famous Production, Universal Worldwide Home Entertainment, Universal Studios Home Entertainment, Glenn Berman, Randy Fun,
Professor Dr. Tommy John, Dave Robertson, Pat Williams,
Brandon Schneider,
Henry Bibby,
Mike Bibby,
Tim Donaghy,
Dan Hughes,
Marcus Johnson,
George Litt,
Larry Sanders, Steve Berlander,
Dr. Jen Welter,
Steve Ladd, Gus Barak,
Craig Colquitt,
Paul Shortino.
My life is just a party, and parties weren't meant to last. Dickerson.
Jason Hook, Zarbler for Five Finger Death Punch,
Craig Bartok, lead guitar player, songwriter for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Heart.
Sidney Justin from the Miracles.
My name is Curtis Blow. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way to dribble up and down the court. I'm here on the Sports Circus.
Vinny from the Bronx Wanderers.
Mark Schulman, drummer for Pink, Cher, Velvet Revolver, Stevie Nicks, Sheryl Crow, Simple Mind, Richard Mark,
Aaron Fink, Breaking Benjamin,
Jason Hartlett, drummer for rock legend Ted Nugent,
Matt Starr, drummer for Ace Frehley from Kiss,
Rockstar, Todd Kearns,
Phil Buckman, the bass player in the rock band Fuel,
Dave Laurie,
Neil Donnell from the band Chicago.
This is Brad Gillis from the band Night Ranger, and
Philip Bailey.
Reasons, the reasons that we're here.
Selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Welcome back to everybody that's watching on Instagram, also on Facebook and AMP TV, like I just said. Again, like, subscribe, and follow. Also, a big welcome into everybody on radio and television, everybody on radio on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, plus independents from coast to coast, as well as Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Wow Cable Television, and Hotel TV as well in every Nielsen-rated market in America, gaining about 4 million impressions per hour. Folks, if you know anything about that, and the advertising world, the marketing world, the online world, believe me, those are mad, crazy numbers. Yes. That's the Sports Circus. Check us out at sportscircus.com. Also, head over to our partners page, and you'll find many of our partners that have been with us since the very beginning. In fact, one of those is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Everybody on TV can see College of Southern Nevada Athletics, Coyotes Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events and all your tickets. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Yes! All right. The NFL Players Association has renewed a call for safer fields. And this is a very serious issue, folks, and this is one you need to listen close to. As according to NBC Sports, Pro Football Talk, recently numerous players and coaches have called for safer playing fields. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones tried to discount those concerns. Why? Because he could, right? And, of course, I guess he's sort of referred to as the dean of the owners, nonetheless, probably the wealthiest one of all the NFL owners. Doesn't really matter at this point, but he's trying to discount these concerns, and he found immediate support from NFL-backed statistics that, of course, as always, can be twisted and manipulated to support nearly any given premise. Big surprise. Now, the NFLPA responded accusing, quote, NFL PR machine of going into overdrive to spin a more favorable narrative to what the union and players know is a problem, close quote. Kind of like what, well, certain media does for certain members of Congress, and even those at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's right. Lots of cover-ups, lots of spin, lots of BS. That's what they're good for, and they're really good at it. Anyway, so the NFLPA had responded and said the NFL PR machine, kind of like the political machine, kind of does stuff you probably shouldn't do. So NFLPA President J.C. Tretter, in a follow-up to his September 2020 column, calling for all grass fields, he wants all grass fields. Frankly, I don't blame him. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Of course, has more specific requests this time around. In a new item posted at the union's official website, Tretter requests, number 1, the immediate replacement and ban of all slit film turf. Number 2, no longer allowing games to be played on fields with clear visual abnormalities. Number 3, the raising of the field standards and testing the safety and performance of all surfaces. Number 4, the clearing that excess people and dangerous equipment from the sidelines. Basically get everybody away from it. And of course, Tretter explains as to the first item that slit film playing surface have higher in-game injury rates compared to all other surfaces for non-contact injuries, missed time injuries, lower extremity injuries, and foot-ankle injuries. He said that the union wrote a letter this week to the NFL, quote, demanding the immediate removal, close quote, of those surfaces. Now, of course, teams currently using slit film turf, per Tretter, after the Giants, the Jets, the Lions, the Vikings, the Saints, the Colts, and the Bengals. And of course, Tretter had said, quote, the injuries on slit film are completely avoidable. Both the NFL and the NFLPA experts agree on that data. And yet the NFL will not protect the players from a subpar surface, close quote. Now, as to the second item, Tretter points to the regular season games played in Tottenham, which, quote, had a given uneven seam right above the numbers, close quote. that was pointed out in connection with the Giants-Packers game played there recently. And Treader said, quote, "We saw this in Chicago and Las Vegas during the preseason, as well with chunks of grass torn up. This is an embarrassment. The NFL might be quick to say something like, those fields have passed their mandatory inspections. While again, this is a great PR spin, it does not address the need for safety improvements," close quote. Now, in connection with the Tottenham situation, what was alternative to playing the game? Where could they have played it? At the time when the NFL is desperately trying to globalize the sport, kind of like the stupid government, pulling the plug on a game before kickoff and sending everyone home with a rain check or a refund would not have helped the cause, right? Because it's about money. They don't give a damn about the players, now do they? Nah, why would they? They're only slaves to the game. And of course, it's unfortunate, and it is a reality. And it will be hard to change that mindset, especially in international games. Yet they may be slaves to the game, as I said, but they are very, very well paid. So essentially, they're being paid to play the game and not voice their opinion. Now, as to the third item, Treader points out that the current field standards are more than 13 years old, and he notes that the league had a union, and the union are currently engaged in research to, for the first time, establish new performance and safety standards that can be used for every field. Treader said, quote, "Until we have those standards in place, the NFL needs to be much more conservative when we have visible issues with the fields. And the current field inspections do not account for performance safety, so we should stop saying that these fields are safe to play on based on the fact that past inspection," close quote. So apparently, this article from NBC Sports, they said he's right. But again, the league doesn't like the alternative, postponing or canceling regular season games, to be unacceptable. After 2 years of holding the season together through the pandemic, good luck getting the league to slam the brakes on a game and in turn screw up all the overall scheduling because of the concerns regarding a condition of a field. And of course, at that point, Treader he nails this one. He is absolutely against it, but he nails it. And he said that the league says every year that it will look into streamlining the clutter around the field, but it never does, except during the pandemic it did. And of course, Treader's column concluded with a clear message for owners. Quote, "Stop with the lip service, stop with the media spin, stop pretending you care. And if you do care, take the actionable steps to fix the problem our union has identified, especially those issues you actually agree with." So even if, close quote, even if they don't care about the players as human beings, and plenty owners simply don't, according to them, they should care about them as an investment, right? We just talked about the slave thing, the high paid thing. Okay. And that's the most amazing part of it. Seemingly tens of millions of dollars are devoted to paying players and otherwise keeping them in the right condition to perform. Why not do everything possible to give them the playing service that makes it harder for them to stay healthy? Why would they do that? Now, you want to make sure that these kids can go ahead and do what? They can play the game. It's ultimately a cost-benefit analysis for some owners, and it will simply cost too much to improve the surfaces, and they're able or aren't willing to quantify the benefits, even if those benefits are obvious, regardless of whether the players are regarded as people or robots. So now the NFL actually answered this. Yes, and insisting that the injury rates are the same on synthetic surfaces versus grass. And of course, NBC Sports Pro Football Talk follows up with the previous, saying the NFL released a statement after the NFLPA, their PR campaign against the artificial surfaces, had really come to some kind of a surface of its own, and specifically the slit film surface that 7 teams play their home games on. And Jeff Miller, the NFL's EVP of Communications, Public Affairs, and Policy, said in a statement, quote, "As the NFLPA knows from the meeting of our Joint Field Survey Safety and Performance Committee earlier this month, there were no differences between the number of injuries on synthetic surfaces versus grass, while slit film surfaces, one type of synthetic material, have 2 to 3 more injuries per year. Most of them are ankle sprains, a low burden injury, whereas slit film also sees lower rate of fewer high burden ACL injuries compared to those other synthetic fields. And as a result, the league and the NFLPA's joint experts did not recommend any changes to surfaces at the meetings, but agreed more study is needed. Close quote. Yeah. Look, the reality is this. There's a lot going on here, and it's all about money. I'm going to skip the rest of the story because it's just all statistics and crap. I'll tell you this much. As a former athlete playing on artificial surfaces versus grass, there's something to contend with that people need to know. If you've never played a professional sport, a high-level sport even, or if you've never played on turf versus regular grass, the difference is monumentous. The fact is, grass actually has give. You dig your... In my case, I played baseball, so sometimes when they stuck me in the outfield, well, guess what? You can make a turn, and you can turn your ankle, you can turn your toes, and basically what will happen is the grass will give. On the turf, the artificial surface does not give. And so, in other words, if you dig the ball of your foot into the surface and you try to make a quick turn, what will happen is you'll tweak your knee, you'll tweak your ACL and your MCL, and you'll cause possibly a year-end, maybe even a career-ending injury. Well, the grass needs to be played on everywhere where all these games are played, whether it's football, baseball, whatever. All of these need to be given consideration. And you've got to realize, folks, that when these players are playing on an artificial surface, they're more susceptible to injuries because there's no give in the surface. There's a big problem right there. Back when this game was invented, they didn't play on an artificial surface. Hell, they didn't even have that. And for years and years and years and years, all the way up to artificial surfaces showing up basically as painted cement, the old AstroTurf. The fact is, players didn't get hurt on those types of injuries as much because why? There was give in the field. Yeah, they played in muddy conditions. Yes, the footing was slippery, but ultimately, your foot didn't get stuck in a groove and it couldn't move. It couldn't pivot either direction. The fact is, playing on an artificial surface, frankly, is bad. It's bad. It's a cleaner field. It's a cleaner image. The problem is it's bad for the players, which in turn is bad for the league. It's bad for revenues. Players get injured. They can't get out there. And guess what happens? Nobody wins when the players can't play. Get rid of those artificial surfaces because they're causing more trouble than the value in which they bring in the first place. And that's from your fan and former athlete, Sal the Bookmaker, and of course, as a former professional athlete. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the Sports Circus. I'll see you here in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. So until then, so long, everyone.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.